We're going to do a reaction to probably Detroit's top 10 players of the Detroit Lions, and I'm going to give you my thoughts. I haven't seen the list, so I could not tell you who is even on there. I haven't looked at it. I just seen it. I was like, you know what? This is better than doing another observation video. I want to do something a little bit different because you do it a lot, and it's like, okay, it's time to switch it up a little bit, and I figure, let's see who they got, and we'll go with that one. Before we get into today's video, if you're a fan of the Detroit Lions, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps out, and it pushes the content out there as the NFL season is nearly here. So let's go ahead and go into this top 10 list. Again, I haven't seen it. Don't know who's on there right now. So first one is Kirby Joseph. You know I love Kirby Joseph. How can I not be happy to see him on a top 10 list? And he should be for the Detroit Lions. The guy was a great draft pick last year. I loved him out of college. I loved him with the Detroit Lions. He sent Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets. The last pass for Rodgers in the NFC North was to Kirby Joseph. He is just a baller and a playmaker. Absolutely love this guy. So happy he's a Detroit Lion. And you got to show some love to Kerby. And I concur here. You can put him, like it says, high as 4, low as 12. I think that's probably realistic. He's one of my favorite players on the team, period. And is there a little bit bias there because I loved him out of college? Yeah. But it's also he's proved exactly what he was to be when the Lions got him. A ball and safety that gets turnovers. Absolutely love it. Where do you rank Kirby Joseph? Let me know in the comment section below. Let me know. 1 through 100. Where do you have Kerby at? Let's continue on here. Cam Sutton. And you see in the other one there, Cam Sutton is the 9th player on the list. And I can see that for sure. You're talking about the number 1 corner for the Detroit Lions. You got to have that guy be high. You got to have someone that can make plays. And he's not the most vocal leader in the world, but he's getting it done. And so that's the only thing that matters, is he's getting it done. So I got no problem with him being 9. Jared Goff at 8 is an interesting one to me because you think of the quarterback position, they're probably the most impactful players on a team. So if this is going just by ability, I could see that. But if you're talking about like importance, I think it'd be a little bit higher there because of the quarterback position. Quarterbacks are the most important position on a football team. It is. It's probably the most vital position on any sports team. So I could see that. I'd probably do a little bit higher just because of the position. That's just me. You know me. I'm not a Goff lover and I'm not a Goff hater, but at the same time, you take him off the Detroit. If he was to get injured, we're in a world of hurt for this team. You're going to lose a lot more games. And if you lose other players in this team, you can supplement it. Yeah, you're going to hurt, but boy, you're in a real world of trouble if the quarterback goes down. So where do you have Goff on here? I'd probably do like 6 or 5. It's probably where I'd go. Let's continue on. Jonah Jackson ahead of Jared Goff. I don't have that. I do like Jonah Jackson. He's a great integral part to the Lions' offensive line. Absolutely no doubt. But we have Sorsdale that can come in there and I think could do a decent job. I think if there's an injury there, you can get it supple. We've seen it with Big V, right? You can still continue on. I do love Jonah Jackson. I think he needs to extend it and stay with the Detroit Lions. And he is so important to the Lions' offensive line that all the players are. They have to be. You know, this is the bread and butter of the bread and butter of the Lions is the trenches in the offensive line. That's where it starts. This is where the Lions win football games, is beating these people physically and at the line of scrimmage. So I have no problem him being a top 10, but I definitely put Goff ahead of him. Let's continue on here. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, 6. Cannot argue with that. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, to me, is probably the most valuable player Right now on the defense, I love Aiden Hutchinson, but as of right now, what I mean by he's a vocal leader, he's changing the culture, that's what I mean. Impact, Aiden Hutchinson, I think, has a bigger impact, but with the Lions secondary so awful and the defense so awful, we needed to get a big-name guy in here that can change the trajectory of this thing because it was a horrible secondary. It was a horrible back end of the defense. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson, 6. I would go a little bit higher. I think he's that important to the Lions' defense. I think he's that important to the Lions' culture and how we change and how we can use multiple players in multiple positions. Yes, if he goes down, you can get a Brian Branch in there that can do a supplemental of a job, but it's everything about him. It's not just the play on the field. It's also the swag, the play off the field, and the way he conducts himself. It's just so important to Detroit right now, just how he is to be. And I think that's really vital to the Lions. Taylor Decker here at number 5. I have no problem with that. You're talking about left tackle. Left tackle is one of the most important parts of a whole team as well. You know, you got your quarterback, you got your left tackle, and you got your edge rushers. I have no problem with that. He's not the most spectacular player on the offensive line, but he's the most vital player on the offensive line. Penei Sewell can come in there. If you got Taylor Decker injured, you can throw him to the left side, so that's the one caveat. So I think Penei Sewell is maybe a little bit higher. Again, I haven't seen the list, but I can understand that for sure. But right now, Taylor Decker's the veteran. He's the guy that's been here for a long time. He is the blind side. He is our guy that gets everybody straight. So I have no problem with Taylor Decker being number 5. If Penei Sewell's higher, I have no problem with that either, just because he can play the left side. And he's an elite right tackle. To me, he's probably the best or second best right tackle in football. As Taylor Decker's probably like, you know, he's 10 through 16 left tackle. Aiden Hutchinson at number 4. Again, I'm not going to argue with it. I do like C.J. Gardner-Johnson probably a little bit higher, but Aiden Hutchinson is the better player all around. There's no doubt about it. And we need to get pass rush. Aiden Hutchinson has to be that guy. He has to come in and make an impact for Charles Harris and Romeo Okwara, Joshua Pascal to make their move. Aiden Hutchinson was the 88 on the top 100. He's the number 2 overall pick. He is a player that the Lions use him as a staple for this whole team, not just defense, but this whole damn team. So I got no problem with it that they have him higher than C.J. Gardner-Johnson at all. I don't. So far, this list is pretty good. Besides the Jared Goff, Jonah Jackson one, I would definitely flip that. Frank Ragnow at number 3. I would put Aiden Hutchinson and Taylor Decker above Frank Ragnow. Why is that? Because Graham Glasgow can play center. We've seen that, you know, Evan Brown could do it as well. I love Frank Ragnow. He is a big part of this football team, but the blind side is probably a little bit more worrisome for me. Frank Ragnow has shown that when injured, that it can take, but again, Frank Ragnow is one of the best players in this football team, and him in the top 10 is an obvious thing. It's just, I guess, of who would you put where, what, or other. So I got no problem with it, but I would switch a couple out. Love me some Frank Ragnow. Last year ranking, he was number 1, and now he's number 3. Penei Sewell is tied for first. There's 2 firsts here. You got Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Penei Sewell, I have no problem being up here. I mean, he can play left side. He's an elite right tackle. He is the up-and-comer. This guy is magnificent. Amon-Ra St. Brown is number 1 as well. They were tied. I would put, it's hard. It's really hard here because they're both great players. And I would probably put Sewell ahead of St. Brown just because of him playing left side in the offensive line. But St. Brown, no doubt, man. St. Brown is the Detroit Lions. St. Brown makes this offense go. Like, the guy is always open. He's physical. Everything about his game is great, and I don't have a problem with that. I definitely don't. So where do you guys rank St. Brown? Where do you guys rank Penei Sewell? Let me know in the comments below your thoughts. I can't wait to see what you think on this one. With that said, folks, adios.